Hey, I'm Dr. Tyler Hales, and one of the big things out there right now are no prep veneers. It's incredible, the transition to this new way of dentistry. Why is it so big? It really comes down to not having to drill any of the teeth. We can be so conservative now, it limits the amount of pain that I have to go throughout the process and still get amazing results that look natural and beautiful to you. So in the past, there's always been traditional prep veneers, and that is usually when we're having to grind the tooth away to little nubs to be able to get the aesthetics that we need. Well, nowadays we don't need as much porcelain, as much thickness for those veneers, and so we can do what's called no prep and very minimal prep veneers. A lot of times we don't even need to numb you up or shape the teeth or drill the teeth in the way that you've seen in the past. That is always anxiety for the patient. So now we can create these beautiful aesthetic veneers without having to touch the teeth and get a result where you can feel confident. So the process to get no prep veneers is initially coming in and trying on the initial temps, right? We want to make sure that you are a great candidate for it and that we've got enough thickness for the veneers to look exactly the way we want and not look bulky or fake. That is where all the artistry goes into it. Once we have that design, right, I send that to my lab to be able to mimic what those veneers will look like and then put in the artistry of the translucency and the color to get the result that we want. Then 3 weeks later, we seat those no prep veneers. Again, not having to touch the teeth, no numbing, where you can feel confident and have a smile that's going to last. I get the question often of, am I a candidate for no prep veneers? And really what it comes down to is one, we want to know what is the end result that we're trying to achieve. Two, a lot of times it has to be someone that has really smaller teeth and we're trying to make them bigger, or a narrow smile and we're trying to create more fullness, right? When it comes to no prep, we always additive, which means we're adding to the tooth structure or adding to the smile to make it bigger or fuller. Now, we don't want to make sure that it's not too big and that it still looks natural in a lot of ways. And so a lot of times we want to make sure that if you are a great candidate, we are evaluating that. So how do we know if you're a candidate for no prep veneers and that it's still going to look natural and not big and bulky, right? It all comes down to the design. And how we do this is we take a 3D scan or a digital scan where I can sit down with my ceramist and we mock it up on a digital scan. So that way we can see how much room do we have for the veneers and are you a good candidate? A lot of times, if you push the limits too far, you get the bulky fake veneers. We want things that are going to look thin, have translucency, look natural, have the characteristics of natural teeth. And what we have to understand that through the digital process. The reason why this is a great process of no prep veneers is a lot of times there's very little to no recovery, right? We're not having to numb you up. We're not having to shave the teeth down. There's no sensitivity. All of these go into the design, into the process of getting the end result. So when you come in, that appointment only lasts a couple hours, but you're not having to recover from any surgery or any after process. So if you want to know if you're a great candidate for no prep veneers, you can schedule a virtual call with my concierge. What we want to do is sit down and talk about the results, what your fears and anxieties are, and what type of result we're looking for, and see if you're a great candidate for no prep veneers.